Right now, how UW's Carbone Cancer Center is saving lives right here in Madison. Also, one Wisconsin car dealership owner talks about how his business may be impacted by the new tariffs put in place by President Trump. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 5:30. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Today marks the second year of the UW Health Carbone Cancer Center's open house. Our Merrill Hubbard shows us the brains behind the operation.
Try to wrap your head around this, or should I say brain around this, because this is a real human brain and just one of the areas of the body you can learn about at the UW Health Carbone Cancer Center open house.
We want the community to feel as engaged in the research as the researchers themselves.
At the Health Sciences Learning Center, the community gets an up-close look at the life-saving research happening through UW. More than 20 interactive displays, lab tours, and panels with experts give people of all ages the chance to see the brains behind oncology research. The open house brings color and conversation to something that affects millions of Americans.
Cancer is a very scary diagnosis, and people can feel quite alone when either themselves or a family member is affected. But this shows that there's a whole team of experts available that not only can help them through their journey, but really are leading national experts in these different cancers, and that are spending their time trying to figure out better ways to get cures to patients as quickly as possible.
Christian Capitini, acting director of the University of Wisconsin Carbone Cancer Center, says he's happy to see everyone come together to support their research. Reporting in Madison, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Meryl, thank you. Tonight at 10, we will hear more about how the UW Health Carbone Cancer Center could be impacted by the federal funding cuts. Now let's get a look at your certified most accurate forecast with Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington. Alex, an absolutely beautiful day here in southern Wisconsin.
It is, yeah. It turned out just like we were talking last night, Jalen, getting into the 50s. Tiny bit of a breeze, but we have plenty of sun out here today. So really a nice early April day, but Monday, not so nice. We got a cold front that's going to sweep through the area starting right around 3 o'clock. Madison up to the Dells could have a mix of rain and snow. I think most of this is going to be in the form of snow showers. As we head towards the very beginning of the Monday morning commute, some snow shower activity, especially Madison, Dells, Janesville, and points off towards the east and southeast. Then as the atmosphere tries to warm up on Monday, we're going to have what we call popcorn-like showers, but in this case, in the form of snow. And those snow showers could briefly come down at a decent clip, especially for areas Dells, Madison, Janesville, and points off towards the east. We just want you to know if you get caught in one of those snow showers tomorrow, we're not expecting hefty snow accumulations, but could have some briefly reduced visibilities and just slow it down. Coming up in Maine weather, we got another weather system we're going to track for Wednesday and Thursday, and I'll give you a first glimpse of what that looks like coming up.
All right, sounds good, Alex. We'll see you in just a bit. Right here in Wisconsin, businesses are working out how to navigate the new tariffs from President Donald Trump. Emily McMahon shows us a car dealership owner and how they're approaching the issue.
Joe Hamblock has worked in the automobile industry for more than 40 years and says he has never seen a scenario quite like what's happening with the tariffs.
Well, I'm not sure we fully understand the impacts of the tariffs at this point. We do fully support American manufacturing. That's very important. And so how we get there, I don't really know.
With many questions on the tariffs in Belvidere, Hamblock says they are far from the only car dealership concerned.
There are so many different opinions on what they're going to do. I honestly don't know. I wish I did know, and if you know somebody that knows, let me know. But the whole industry is trying to figure it out right now, and it's going to, I think, slowly unravel what the price increases may be or may not be. I don't think anyone has a clear understanding exactly how it's going to affect everybody.
As for what you can do, Hamblock suggests purchasing quickly if you are in the market for a new car.
If you can make a decision sooner, I think sooner is probably better than later. Right now, there are still a lot of cars in the ground that have not been tariffed.
And same goes for repairs, if that's something you know you need done.
Some parts, yes. So parts are made in different places, and each part is individual. The parts ones have not started on everything yet, so if you need to repair, sooner the better.
However, Hamblock says there could be one benefit coming along with the tariffs.
Well, obviously affordability is a huge concern, and it has been for some time. So there are some benefits to this. Used car prices are probably going to increase a little bit, so if you have a car you're trading in, you'll get the benefit of that.
But until things are certain, Hamblock believes the questions will continue.
It's changing all the time, and I'm not sure it's done changing. I don't really know the answer to that. So it's difficult to navigate through that and find out what's going on, which makes so many things uncertain, right?
Coming up next on News 3 Now at 5:30, looking to the week ahead as America readies itself for the life with the new Trump tariffs in place. And the measles outbreak in Texas is still ravaging parts of the state, this time taking another life.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5:30.
Thank you for staying with us. Market analysts say investors reacted to the president's reciprocal tariff policy the way they reacted to COVID, with a massive sell-off. The president's tariff policy includes a baseline 10% on all trading partners and an escalating menu from there. China matched President Trump's hike, issuing a 34% tariff on American goods. The president remains confident that short-term pain will lead to, quote, long-term gain. The latest numbers from the Labor Department shows the U.S. added a robust 228,000 jobs in March. Far exceeding expectations, unemployment ticked up slightly to 4.2%. The biggest gains were in healthcare and transportation, as well as warehousing. Those all saw a boost, possibly in preparation for those tariffs. Federal employment declined amid the president's ongoing DOGE cuts, though analysts say we likely won't see the full impact of those layoffs for a couple of months. Americans are bracing for the week ahead after President Trump's new tariffs unsettled investors and sparked a plunge on Wall Street. CBS News correspondent Christian Benavides is in Miami.
President Trump's Commerce Secretary says the commander-in-chief plans to go ahead with his reciprocal tariffs on dozens of U.S. trading partners this week.
The president needs to reset global trade. Everybody has a trade surplus, and we have a trade deficit. We are paying away our future and our lives. The countries of the world are ripping us off.
The sweeping tariffs on goods from countries around the world set off the worst two-day Wall Street sell-off in 5 years. Democratic Senator Maria Cantwell last week helped introduce new bipartisan legislation to reassert Congress's authority over trade policy.
Consumer groups are announcing, and retailers, the fact that they want Congress to take this action up.
Republican Don Bacon introduced similar legislation in the House.
It's time that Congress restores its authorities here. And the Constitution is clear. The House and the Senate, Congress has the power of tariffs and taxes. And we gave some of that power to the executive branch. And I think, in hindsight, that was a mistake.
On Sunday, President Trump left his Trump National Golf Club in Jupiter, Florida, after taking part in the tournament. This week at the White House, President Trump is meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. They are set to discuss new U.S. tariffs on Israel, as well as security issues between the ally nations. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
The Senate measure would require the president to give Congress 48 hours notice before imposing or raising tariffs. The president would have to include an explanation and analysis of the potential impact, while lawmakers would have the ability to end the levy with a joint resolution. A second child has died of measles in Texas amid the ongoing outbreak. Hospital officials in Lubbock say the child was unvaccinated and had no known underlying health conditions. A Trump administration official told the New York Times the child's cause of death is still, quote, still being looked at. This marks the second confirmed death linked to the outbreak. The first confirmed death was another unvaccinated child in Texas, while a death in New Mexico remains under investigation. At least 569 cases of measles have been reported, at least in 3 states. The vast majority of those cases in Texas, and nearly all were unvaccinated people. However, experts say the numbers are likely to be a severe undercount because many cases go unreported. A recent study suggests that what you eat in midlife may affect how healthy you are when you're older. Researchers followed over 100,000 Americans for 30 years. The participants were between the ages of 39 and 69. They found less than 10% had achieved healthy aging. That means that by age 70, they were free of major chronic diseases and their cognitive, physical, and mental health were maintained. The researchers say that specific group of people ate diets that were in high fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and unsaturated fats and nuts. Coming up after the break, Alex returns with a complete look of your first warn forecast.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5:30.
Thank you for staying with us. Relentless rain and severe thunderstorms have swept through parts of the central U.S. The 5-day string of storms has triggered historic flooding and tornadoes. At least 17 people have died across multiple states. Jen Sullivan has the details on the damage.
Days of powerful storms pummeling much of the central U.S. have left a path of destruction. Torrential rain has fallen across the Mid-South since Wednesday, measuring more than a foot in some areas. In Kentucky, many roads are underwater, with some communities swamped.
I've been an emergency manager in Woodford County for greater than 20 years, and I don't ever remember this much water.
In the small town of Hardy in northern Arkansas, the relentless rain has caused the Spring River to spill over the banks surrounding homes. Some structures, all you can see are the roofs.
We're just getting a lot of water right now, and with the continuation of the rainfall, plus what is continuing to fall north of us, all that water's got to go somewhere.
In Memphis, Tennessee, cars left stranded after this road flooded. And in Nashville, a river of water in these front yards, leaving feet of water in many basements.
We have a little one and a dog, and my husband and I kind of just kept, all we could do was watch all this rushing water.
The string of storms also triggering tornadoes. This family in Senatobia, Mississippi has lost everything.
We were all in shock. Very hard. It's hard to talk about it.
And the threat isn't over yet. Roughly 22 million people are under flood watches in the Tennessee and Ohio valleys, the Central Appalachians, and the Southeast Sunday. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Our thoughts are certainly with those impacted right now. Alex, what can you share with us about southern Wisconsin?
Yeah, nothing like that here. We had our 2 tornado warnings last Wednesday as part of that string of severe weather events, but luckily nothing like that in our forecast. And our 3 things that you need to know. Overnight tonight, snow showers are in the forecast. Rain, wet weather system Wednesday going into Thursday. Mild by the weekend, so that's something to look forward to. But we got to get through a couple weather systems. Here's system number 1, a cold front coming through southern Wisconsin right around 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. Mix of rain and snow showers from the Dells to Madison to Janesville. It points off towards the north and towards the east, ushering in that cold air. With that cold air coming in and the sun trying to come out and the atmosphere trying to heat up, what we'll get are these popcorn-like snow showers, not rain showers, snow showers tomorrow, especially from, let's say, Madison down to Monroe, Janesville, and points off towards the east. And we're not going to have widespread all-day snow. It's intermittent snow showers, and if you happen to get into one of these snow showers, you could briefly have those visibilities reduced. Overall snowfall amounts across southern Wisconsin, really nothing to speak of. We've also got growing grassy surfaces out there. Anything would be slushy and on the grass. But when you add the snowflakes, and that could come down briefly moderate at times to 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts, that will briefly reduce those visibilities in those isolated snow showers. So if you get into one of those snow showers and the visibilities start to come down, just take it a bit easy. But again, they're going to be intermittent snow showers. That all develops after about 3 o'clock in the morning as clouds increase. Temperatures tonight right around 30 degrees. As we go into Monday, the chilly day. Temperatures will be lucky to get to 40 in Madison, maybe 40 over far southwest Wisconsin, which is 13 degrees below normal. The reason why they likely are going to be right on the edge of this weather system, maybe a couple of peaks of sunshine out towards the Mississippi River. Do have another weather system. I said Wednesday going into Wednesday night. Here's how that weather system may pan out here. Mix of rain and some wet snow. I think it's mostly going to be the form of rain on Wednesday, but as we head towards Wednesday at 6 o'clock, couple wet snowflakes building in. Best chances for this wet weather system, let's say Dells and areas towards the south, towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. And as we get into the early morning hours on Thursday, we could see again some wet snowflakes mixing in. Slushy accumulations at most would be expected, again, because surfaces are starting to warm up. It's getting into April, and well, if we get any slushy accumulation Wednesday night going into Thursday, by the time we get to Friday, going on into Saturday and Sunday, temperatures in the 60s, that snow will be gone. Thunderstorm chances next Monday with the cold front as our temperatures peak closer to 70 degrees. And well, let's end on a bright note here. Speaking of bright, this is a sunrise in Verona. Bill sends us this photo. All Bill had to do is just load up the First Warn Weather app. You can submit your photos that way. Just click the little ... button in the right-hand part of the screen. Or if you're sitting at home right now, get your phone out, Scan that QR code in the upper left-hand part of the screen and load up your weather photos so we can show them on air and celebrate some nice sunrise photos like this that Bill sent. Thanks, Bill.
When you guys do that, you essentially become part of the First One weather team.
Yeah.
So
community effort.
Yeah, absolutely.
You become part of the team like you said.
So in summary, the next day or so, enjoy today, but be ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm kind of frowning. Tomorrow's not going to be the nicest of the day to start off the work week, but by the time we get to Friday, sunny skies, temperatures trying to get closer to 60.
Definitely looking forward to that one. Thank you, Alex.
Sure.
Coming up in sports, the Brewers had to overcome even more injuries to win their first series of the season. Andrew tells you if they could pull it off next on News 3 Now.
This morning, the Brewers placed Nestor Cortez on their injured list, making him the team's 7th starting pitcher to be sidelined, adding to an insanely injury-riddled rotation. It's left Pat Murphy with no choice other than to put other arms in a starting role that otherwise would be way ahead of schedule, such as Chad Patrick, who spun a gem in his first big league start last week and proved today that he's here to stay against the Reds. Gets the punch out to work out of a 4th inning jam. The Rook gave up just 2 hits in 5 1/3 innings of 1-run ball. And in the bottom of the frame, it was last year's breakout rookie who put the Reds out of reach. Already leading 4-0, and Jackson Chourio tacks on another trio. The 3-run round tripper jolts the crew to an 8-2 victory, securing the series win. To the ice, where 8 surpassed the great one. The Washington Capitals' Alexander Ovechkin scored his 895th goal of his NHL career today, breaking Wayne Gretzky's record and becoming the NHL's all-time leading goal scorer. Incredibly, Ovi broke the record in his 1,487th game, the exact amount of games that Gretzky played in his illustrious career. And speaking of great goal scorers, Wisconsin men's hockey's Quinn Finley announced that he's returning to Madison for his junior season. Finley lit the lamp 20 times this year, leading the Badgers all season. And midway through the year, he led the country in goals scored. Last night, the Milwaukee Bucks looked dead to rights, but once again, Giannis put on his cape and willed his team to a win. It was his 2nd straight game with at least 35 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists, joining Wilt Chamberlain and Oscar Robertson as the only players in NBA history to pull that off in consecutive games. Join us at 10 and we'll have highlights from tonight's Bucks bout against the Pelicans. To the college ranks, where UConn is back on top of the women's college basketball world. The Huskies dominated South Carolina en route to the program's 12th national championship, breaking UCLA's record for the most titles by any Division I basketball program, men's or women's. And to the men's side of March Madness, recapping a Final Four for the ages. Walter Clayton Jr. and his Florida Gators took down Auburn to advance to the title game, where they'll meet a Houston team coming off of maybe the most impressive and stunning comeback we've ever seen in a Final Four game. It sets up even more madness on Monday night, and at 7:50, you can catch that national title game right here on CBS. Awesome for the UConn women, still coming off of that incredible game, those 2 games last night. Even all this time later, it's still hard to believe what Houston did.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there was a lot of talk about this being, more of a lackluster NCAA tournament. But to get to the Final Four, and you had clearly what were the 4 best teams, and it showed as both games were super close down to the wire, even more so with Houston and Duke.
Absolutely, and we're excited for tomorrow night's game.
Definitely looking forward to it. Thank you, Andrew. We'll be back with more after the break. We didn't get a chance to talk about it too much before the break, but you lived in the D.C. area for some time. So what's your reaction to Alex Ovechkin breaking the NHL scoring record?
Yeah, the guy is an absolute legend, and now it doesn't even need to be said. But that D.C. area is absolutely hyped right now for their all-time probably best athlete they've ever had, who now got all the way to the mountaintop. An incredible career for Alexander Ovechkin. He may be done in the NHL next year, but he'll play in Russia for another 10 years. The guy is otherworldly.
I mean, his longevity just speaks for itself.
It really does.
Real quick before we head on out, Alex, what should we expect?
Scattered snow showers tomorrow. If you do get into one of those snow showers, just take it easy. We could have some briefly reduced visibilities, and then a rainmaker Wednesday going into Thursday, maybe some wet snow. Warm by next weekend.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you back.